you enjoy this video, then please leave a like and a comment. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And while you're here, why not check out all our other content? Thank you, and enjoy the video.
Oh no, he died! Spider-Man. Spider-Man, Spider-Man, Spider-Man. Everyone loves Spider-Man, and if you don't, then you're wrong. I've loved Spider-Man ever since I was a kid. I watched the movies, I watched the shows, I played the games. Didn't read any comics though, because reading is for fucking nerds. And I never owned any figures either. I owned plenty of Lego Spider-Man, but then Lego decided to fucking die. Then my interests moved over to Transformers and Gundam. But eventually, Spider-Man would find a way to crawl back into my life. Get it? Because he crawls? So in today's video, I'm going to be reviewing every Spider-Man figure that I own. Grab some popcorn, we're gonna be here for a long time. Let's start with the figure that got me hooked on this goddamn addiction. I mean, great hobby, I just love collecting Marvel Legends, don't you? This video is a cry for help, someone please save me. I can't stop buying these fucking figures. The first Marvel Legend I ever bought, the Marvel Legends Big Time Spider-Man. Now I have a bit of a story on why I bought this figure. I went through a phase during my collecting journey where I was just like, I'm gonna buy random figures because they look cool and I want them. So when I saw this in stores, I really wanted to get it because I thought it looked really cool. But also, seeing this figure unlocked some memories for me. When I was younger, I used to watch Shartimus Prime. I don't know why I wasn't collecting anything when I was watching his videos, but if you've seen his videos before, you would know that he has a mascot. That mascot being the Big Time Spider-Man. So when I saw this, I was like, oh my god, it's him! Shartimus Prime, that's his mascot! So if I want to blame anyone for this Marvel Legends addiction, I would blame Hasbro, because they keep making the figures. And I keep buying them. Someone please put me out of my misery. As for the figure itself, this is based on the Pizza Spider-Man body. One of the most overused Marvel Legends body molds, along with the Bucky Cap body and the Sunfire body. This is the exact same figure, like there's no new sculpting at all. Obviously with a new paint job to represent the big time suit. One of my favorite Spider-Man suits ever. I think the head might be reused from a black suit Spider-Man, but I'm not too sure about that. Now as for accessories, you get 3 pairs of hands, those being fists, open hands, and thwipping hands. And you get a string of web. Now I'm only going to go over the articulation one time, because when it comes to Marvel Legends, they're all kind of the same. Okay, let me rephrase. The arms and legs are exactly the same with every figure. You might get a toe joint or some drop-down hips, but those are really the only differences. The main differences come from the chest and neck. Most Marvel Legends have an ab crunch and waist rotation. Some more recent Marvel Legends have had a ball-jointed chest and an ab crunch at the waist. Some have the ball-jointed chest and waist rotation, and some just have the ball-jointed chest. It kind of depends on the design and how recent the body mold is. Some Marvel Legends have butterfly joints, and others don't. And finally, there are two different types of necks that Marvel Legends use. There's the hinge joint, which allows for a lot of up and down movement, and there's the ball joint, which allows for the same amount of up and down movement, and a good amount of side to side. So when it comes to articulation, there can't really be a bad Marvel Legend. The only way for a Marvel Legend to be bad is if they have horribly wrong colors, or they're nightmarishly ugly. Anyway, moving on to articulation, head goes up, down, left, and right. Shoulders go all the way around and out. Butterfly joint, bicep rotation, double elbow, wrist rotation. It also goes up and down. Ab crunch, waist rotation. Leg goes up, down, and out. Thigh rotation, double knee, foot goes up and down, and an ankle pivot. Posability is pretty good. This level of articulation is pretty much the standard for collectible action figures. Although it is kind of embarrassing that they pose better than Figma figures when those are supposed to be high quality products. Okay, now let's get a little more normal. This is my definitive comic Spider-Man. The Marvel Legends Renew Your Vows Spider-Man. And also Spinneret because they came in a pack together, so I'm kind of obligated to review them together. Now, a lot of people were really excited for this figure. They wanted it to be the best Spider-Man. As for me, I just wanted a normal one. It was actually really hard to get just a normal Spider-Man figure. For a long time I was using the Zombie Hunter version as a stand-in, but it just felt wrong. And then this came out in a 2-pack and I was like, finally, a chance to get a normal Spider-Man. And I couldn't be more happy with this figure. It's the classic costume on a new body with the correct colors. I've never had a problem with the red, but they seem to mess up the blue a lot. They either make it too bright or borderline fucking grey. The head is reminiscent of the Pizza Spider-Man, but it is apparently a new head sculpt. Moving on to accessories, you get 3 pairs of hands, those being fists, open hands, and thwipping hands. Okay, so I noticed a quality control issue as I was swapping out the hands. As you can see, the webs here aren't connected. I didn't notice this before, like when I got it out the box. I thought, oh, this is fine, it doesn't have any quality issues. Then I noticed that bullshit. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. I've seen people with copies that are way worse, but still, like, come on, Hasbro. And you get an alternate Peter Parker head. It looks okay. It looks like Peter Parker. Articulation is good, with the only noteworthy points being the drop-down hips and the toe joints. Honestly, I don't get the hype for these. I mean, I never use them. Now let's take a look at Spinneret. I think the design of this is really cool, and Mary Jane being a spider person is a neat idea. I mean, it's better than what they did in the games. Oh, let's give her a taser that's 100 times more powerful than the literal superheroes. I actually read Renew Your Vows to see what she's like in comics, but the one I read didn't have Spinneret in it. I'm new to this, okay? Leave me alone. Anyway, as I said, the design is really cool. White and red is a really nice color combination. It really makes us stand out on the shelf. I never understood masks that only cover half of the face. Like, sure, their eyes are covered, but you can still see the rest of their face. That would be like someone putting on a pair of sunglasses and saying, "You don't know who I am, my identity is concealed." Whatever, it's comic book logic, I guess. As for accessories, you get 3 pairs of hands, including fists, open hands, and thwipping hands. You also get an alternate Mary Jane head. Yeah, I'm not gonna be talking about the articulation anymore unless there's something noteworthy. Otherwise, I'd just be saying the same thing over and over and over again. Now it's time for Miles Morales. And Miles Morales. Why do I have two of these? These figures are based on his design from the video game Spider-Man Miles Morales. And while I love these figures, like, these are some great Marvel Legends, I can't really call them my definitive Miles Morales. I think it's mainly due to the red. It's just not as vibrant as I want it to be. And I get it, it's trying to be game accurate and realistic, but it doesn't stand out as much as I want it to. As for the clear blue one, is this familiar to anyone? Remember clear blue, Sonic? Fuck Jazzwares. Anyway, I always forget Miles has the power to turn invisible, because when I saw this, I thought it was like a cosmic Miles Morales. Yes, I am very stupid. Anyway, I love the way this looks. The bright clear blue, the painted highlights. It's just really nice to look at. As for accessories, you get 4 pairs of hands, those being fists, open hands, thwipping hands, and Venom hands. No, not that Venom. Do you think after the events of Spider-Man 2, Miles thought, maybe I should rename this power? The clear version comes with the same pairs of hands, and the normal version comes with an unmasked head. And it doesn't really look like Miles from the game. If you told me this was the comic version, I wouldn't argue against it. Okay, who's next? That's right, only 6 figures in and we're already back at the Pizza Spider-Man mold. This is the Retro Series, Spider-Man 2099. And this actually has some differences from the normal Pizza Spider-Man body. The forearms have been remolded to give it some spikes, the head is new, the colors are new, obviously, and this figure has a cape. As for accessories, you get 3 pairs of hands including fists, open hands, and claws. You could also count the cape as an accessory if you're, stupid. Now let's move on to the symbiote suit. Despite looking extremely similar to the Renew Your Vows figure, this is not the Renew Your Vows Spider-Man. This is based on the Retro Spider-Man. And I guess the Renew Your Vows figure is too. Basically, the Retro figure came out first, and the Renew Your Vows figure is an updated version of that. And yeah, this figure looks great. The symbiote suit is a really simple design, so it's kind of hard to mess it up. As for accessories, you get 3 pairs of hands including fists, open hands, and thwipping hands. Now let's move on to the Iron Spider. And despite loving the Iron Spider suit, I don't really have much to say about this figure. One thing I will say is, for some reason the red on the chest is way more shiny than the rest of the body. I don't see it most of the time, but when you're actively looking for it, it is really noticeable. As for accessories, you get 2 pairs of hands, including fists, and thwipping hands. And you get the 3 spider legs. I kinda wish they had more joints, but hey, at least they actually have joints. Isn't that right, Doc Ock? I know someone's gonna say, oh, but Soundwave, there's the animated figure that comes with bendy wire tentacles. And I'd say, I know, but I'm not wasting money on that garbage. I despise the animated Doc Ock design. And that Aunt May figure is the stuff of nightmares. Anyway, let's move on to the Spider-Armor Mark 1. A figure that I think is extremely underrated. Marvel Legends collectors, I don't understand you. You always complain about reused parts and bodies, but when we got this figure, which is completely new from the ground up, no one talks about it. I'm sorry, who hurt you? Why aren't people talking about this figure? Anyway, this is a great design. It has a lot of detail, the paint is immaculate, and this figure in particular feels really solid. As for accessories, you get 2 pairs of hands including fists, and thwipping hands. You also get some web effects. Next is Ben Reilly Spider-Man. This is another figure on the retro body, and that's really all I have to say. It comes with the same accessories as the black suit. It is basically the same as the black suit. It's just done in Ben Reilly colors. Moving on. Next is this Miles Morales figure. I don't know what this is. I just bought it because I thought it looked cool. Can someone tell me what comic this is from? I really like this design for Miles. Especially the detail on the legs. Like, that's some pretty nice detail. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Although it is kind of weird that he's wearing a mask on top of a mask. Like, breathing must be hell for this guy. As for accessories, you get 2 pairs of hands, including fists and thwipping hands. Now let's move on to Spider-Noir and Spider-Ham. Actually, let's look at this piece of shit first. This pisses me off. Why can't Spider-Ham get an actual figure? This doesn't count, and this especially doesn't count. These aren't figures, these are statues with joints. Actually, no, that's a bit too generous. This is a statue with 1 joint. So yeah, I refuse to call this a figure. This is a glorified accessory. Nothing more. Now let's look at the real figure. This is based on his design from Into the Spider-Verse. However, unlike Miles Morales, who I don't really feel comfortable using as a comic figure, this actually works really well on a comic shelf. Probably because his design from Spider-Verse is just the comic design. As for accessories, you get a gun, this slides into the hand, and he has a holster you can store it in. You also get 2 different heads, one with the hat and one without the hat. Now let's look at Webman. It's a clone, okay, it counts. And I don't have much to say about this figure. It's using the Sunfire body, and it's using the head from the PlayStation Spider-Man. The first one. The better one. You can throw in as many accessories as you want, Hasbro. It doesn't change the fact that the blue on this figure looks like donkey arse. As for accessories, you get 3 pairs of hands, including fists, open hands, and thwipping hands. And finally, we have the Scarlet Spider. It's just the Renew Your Vows body again. Same articulation, same accessories, just a different design. However, a lot of people, including myself, were worried that the hoodie would get in the way of articulation, but luckily he doesn't have that problem. So that's it for the Spider people, for now. Let's move on to villains. Starting with everyone's favorite, the one, the only, the Green Goblin! Also, Mary Jane, because they came in a pack together, so I'm obligated to review them together. So I have a few questions. First up, why is it so hard to get a figure of the Green Goblin? I get Venom is more popular, and I personally prefer Venom, but this is the Green Goblin, Spider-Man's main antagonist. It's like Batman and Joker, Sonic and Eggman, Optimus and Megatron. A character that important should be on shelves at all times. Question 2. Why the fuck doesn't this come with a stand? What is the Goblin's main mode of transportation? That's right, the glider. And what does the glider do? That's right, it flies. But if you want this figure in the air, you better have a stand lying around because he doesn't fucking come with one. Anyway, the design is good. This is based on his animated design, but you could use it as a comic version if you wanted to. I've heard some people say the face looks goofy. I don't see it though. I mean, have you seen the retro figure? As for accessories, you get one of his pumpkin bombs. This goes into the hand, and there's no storage. You get an alternate Norman Osborn head. Looks very nice. Looks like Norman Osborn. And you get the glider. You just slide the feet into the holes, and then go find a stand because again, he doesn't fucking come with one. I kinda wish this figure came with fists as well. How am I supposed to have him punch the bitch out of Spider-Man? I guess I could have him roast the shit out of him. Spider-Man, you have no bitches, no money, no parents, no uncle. As for Mary Jane, I actually replaced the head with the one from the Renew Your Vows figure, because the head this actually comes with is fucking hideous. But that's all I have to say about this. It looks alright, it comes with 2 pairs of hands. Okay, let's get on to what you actually want to see. Animated Venom. I don't like this figure. Mostly because I don't like the animated design. The shading isn't the problem. I know I've said before that I don't like cell shading on figures, but that's not what I hate about this design. It's the head. I don't like the animated head. The way his mouth is shaped is so goofy. This doesn't look like a terrifying monster that Spider-Man should be afraid of. He looks stupid, like, "Duh, I'll get you, Spider-Man." It sounded like Big the Cat for a second there. "I must say Fergie." As for accessories, you get 2 pairs of hands, including fists and claws. You also get an alternate head. But this is probably the dumbest thing I've seen on any action figure ever. Normally, Venom figures come with 2 different heads. It's normally open mouth and closed mouth, or a Venom head and an Eddie Brock head. But this is fucking dumb. Basically, do you want him with a tongue or without a tongue? That is the dumbest shit I've ever seen. It's literally the exact same head, except one has a tongue and one doesn't. What was even the point? Okay, can we finally talk about the good one? We can? Okay, great. This is the Marvel Legends King in Black Venom. And this is what I like to see. Big scary monster with big scary teeth and big scary claws. That is Venom. Not, "Duh, I'll get you, Spider-Man." Now, this is based on the movie figure, which means this has toes when it's not supposed to. But besides that, I think this was the perfect figure to represent King in Black Venom. As for accessories, you get 2 pairs of hands, including fists and claws. You also get 2 different heads, one with an open mouth and one with a closed mouth. See, it wasn't that hard. And you get a pair of massive wings. While I love these, I never have them attached to the figure. 1, because I don't have the space for it, and 2, because they are a pain in the arse to attach. I used a hairdryer and everything, they just don't want to go in. But despite that, I still love this figure. When I think Venom, I see this figure, I see this design. Not this goofy motherfucker. Moving on, this is Null. Now I bet you're expecting me to say, "Oh, I don't know who this guy is, I just got the 2-pack for Venom." But you'd be wrong. I've actually read Absolute Carnage and King in Black. I actually know who Null is. He's the creator of the symbiotes, the god of darkness. He beat up the Celestials and made them his bitch. And this figure is impressive. First off, it's just big, like he is a tall boy. It's covered in detail, and it just looks really cool. Okay, I did not know that he had a neck joint. That's something new. As for accessories, you get his sword. I love this thing. It looks like a powerful weapon brimming with demonic energy. And you get 2 alternate heads, one with his teeth showing, and one with his mouth closed. I kind of don't like either of these heads. Like, Null has a really big smile, but this is just sort of like, meh, and I just don't like how this one looks. Now let's move on to the last of my symbiote stuff, Carnage. I can't believe people insist that the old one is better, because ooh, Cletus Cassidy head and ooh, accessories. But it also just doesn't look like Carnage. It looks like a guy in a crappy costume. But this actually looks like a monster made of blood and slime. I can actually see this being Venom's accidental demon child.
Hello, Father. I've missed you, Father. Daddy, why did you leave me? Is it because I'm an abomination?
As for accessories, you get 2 different heads, those being a normal comic head and an absolute Carnage head. I'm hoping that we get an actual Absolute Carnage figure based on this design specifically, because this just isn't it. Shocker.
The Shocker. I'm the Shocker. I shock people. What is this, pro wrestling?
I don't have much to say about this one. It's just a pretty nice figure of a pretty nice design. He comes with 2 pairs of hands and some blast effects. So at least he can punch the bitch out of Spider-Man. Chasm. This is the Sunfire body again, so I don't really have much to say about it. Although this one gets extra points for having an amazing color scheme. Shriek. Carnage's lover slash fangirl slash partner in crime. This was the first use of the new female body, so that's something, I guess. Yay! And finally, we have the one, the only... Wait a minute, that's not Morbius. So that's all my comic stuff. Let's move on to the movie stuff now. Starting with J. Jonah Jameson. Oh my god, guys, look! It's him! It's Omni-Man! I never really like the suited figures. Their torsos can't pose at all. They have a hard time standing because of their feet. But this is J. Jonah Jameson, so shut up, this is perfect. As for accessories, you get 1 pointing hand, 1 fist, so even he can punch the bitch out of Spider-Man. And you get 2 open hands. You also get 2 different heads, a more neutral face, and a yelling face. And I love that they did this. If this figure was stuck with constant screaming face, I would have absolutely despised it. Now let's look at Doc Ock. This is really cool. The tentacles are so expressive. They give him a lot of presence on the shelf. The tentacles are kind of the only interesting thing about this figure. He is really basic. He comes with 2 pairs of hands and an alternate pair of bottom claws. Getting back to Spider-Man, we have the No Way Home integrated suit, the No Way Home black and gold suit, the Infinity Saga Civil War suit, and the What If Zombie Hunter suit. I'm looking at these all together because they're basically the same. They all have the same articulation, except one of them has a ball-jointed neck while the rest of them have hinge joints. They all have the same accessories, except 2 of them have alternate heads and 1 of them has a cape. I just don't have anything to say about these. They're not interesting at all. Now we move on to the last 3 figures, starting with the No Way Home Final Swing suit. Now, this is probably the best affordable Spider-Man figure. Not only is it super accurate to the suit from the final scene of No Way Home, but it also works really well as a comic version. It's super articulated and expressive. It comes with all the essential accessories: fists, open hands, the whipping hands, and an alternate Tom Holland head. Now let's move on to the Amazing Spider-Man 2, Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. This is the single release version of the figure from the No Way Home 3-pack. A 3-pack that I hear is very controversial, but I've also heard a lot of people say that Andrew is the best figure from that set, and yeah, this is really good. I might be biased though, because this is my favorite movie suit, but also the figure is just good. Again, it's super expressive, and it looks good in any pose you put it in. As for accessories, you get one fist so he can punch the bitch out of himself, one open hand, and two thwipping hands. And you get an alternate Andrew Garfield head. So, we're finally here. The last figure for now, and this one is something special. So without further ado, let me introduce our last figure. That's right, it's motherfucking Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man, bitches. Now, this figure got a lot of hate when it was released. Oh, the head is bad. Oh, the paint is bad. Oh, the chest is bad. But I don't really see those problems. Sure, the paint can be a bit messy here and there, and the chest doesn't look the best, but I honestly don't care. I'm just happy to have a figure of Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. As for accessories, you get one fist, one open hand, two thwipping hands, and an alternate Tobey Maguire head. Is this figure perfect? No. Is the SH Figuarts better? Yes, obviously. But as an affordable alternative, this is pretty acceptable. Should I go over the articulation again, one last time? Hell no. This video's long enough and I want to go to bed. So that's the Spider-Man review. Now that this is over, I can finally move on to all my other projects. So stay tuned for all that. But for now, I'm going to rest a bit. This video took a lot out of me. I want to die. That's it for me. Please be sure to leave a like and a comment, join my Discord server, donate to my Patreon if you want to, and subscribe to The Great Soundwave. I'll see you next time.